Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. Thank you so much for everything.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's boxing talk. This Saturday, December the 15th, in Madison Square Garden, New York City, it's Canelo Alvarez, the biggest star in boxing, moving up to the 168-pound weight division to take on WBA super middleweight secondary world champion Rocky Fielding. This is a fight matchup where Canelo Alvarez is just moving up in weight to make history to become a three-division world champion. Now, it's a secondary world title because we know the true champion of the WBA is Callum Smith, who just won the title in the super middleweight tournament against George Grove. And he is a top super middleweight in the division right there amongst other big men that are in the division. But Canelo Alvarez picked the weakest link of that division to win a world title the easy way. He didn't go after Callum Smith. He went against his countryman from the UK, which is Rocky Fielding. Fielding is a very big super middleweight at 6'1" against Canelo Alvarez, which is about 5'8". This is a massive size advantage against Canelo Alvarez. Rocky Fielding is a tough fighter, a solid UK fighter that comes to fight, and this guy is having the opportunity of a lifetime to face a guy like Canelo Alvarez, which is the biggest draw in boxing today, and Canelo Alvarez is favored to win this fight, even though there's a massive size advantage against him, because Canelo Alvarez has the experience at this level, championship level. He has the boxing skills, he has quicker hands, and he's a guy that has good punching power, but can he bring that power up to the super middleweight division? That's what we're gonna see against a guy like Rocky, who has been stopped before against Callum Smith, the real champion of the WBA title. Callum Smith was able to stop him, and that's the only loss in Fielding's record throughout 28 professional fights. So can Fielding cause an upset in this fight because he's the underdog? Can he use that size advantage with his jab and his movement to be able to control the tempo and the pace and keep his distance to try to outbox and use that size to apply pressure when he needs to try to wear down a guy that's smaller than him like Canelo Alvarez? Or will Canelo Alvarez use that body attack to break down the bigger man and chop down the tree? Because when you break down the body, the head will fall. And we know that Canelo Alvarez is a very good body puncher, and he's going to use those tactics to be able to chop down a guy like Rocky Fielding. And I believe Canelo Alvarez can get either a stoppage or perhaps a unanimous decision victory against Rocky Fielding. That's why I see this fight going. It's the first fight in Canelo Alvarez's career in New York City, Madison Square Garden, and he's looking to make a very big statement in this fight, taking a guy like Rocky Fielding and breaking him down systematically in this fight. I believe that Canelo Alvarez will shine in this fight. Now, a lot of people are going to get to watch this fight for free. If you haven't subscribed to DAZN, where Canelo Alvarez signed a massive deal of $365 million for 11 fights over 5 years, no more pay-per-view to watch Canelo Alvarez. You could watch him for $10 a month on DAZN. It's a great app, and there's a lot of fights. You have all the Golden Boy top fighters that are going to be fighting on DAZN now. You also have Eddie Hearn and his stable of fighters, including Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight champion of the world, fighting on DAZN. And you also have the World Boxing Super Series tournaments, all the tournaments being showcased on DAZN. This is a great app, live stream, where you can watch it if you have a smart TV or even an Xbox gaming system like I do, where you can watch this fight on the big screen, or you could just watch it from your phone or from your tablet. Once you download this app, like I said, the first month is free, but Canelo Alvarez will be having all his fights on the live stream of DAZN, and see Canelo Alvarez put on a very good display to capture his third division world title. And I see this fight either, like I said, going the distance, because Rocky Fielding is a very big man and he could probably absorb Canelo Alvarez's punches and make it to the final bell for a decision loss, of course, because Canelo is the star. He is the name in boxing, and he'll most likely walk away with a victory win and that WBA secondary world title. Will he stay at the super middleweight division and take on some of the better fighters in that weight class? I don't think so. I think he'll be returning back down to 160 pounds, because I think for this fight right here, he's not going to weigh no more than between 163 to 165 pounds when he steps on the scales, and he'll come in way under the 168-pound weight division for this fight in the super middleweight division, because he's not a true super middleweight. He's too small for these big men in this weight class, but he's picking the right opponent to get the victory win and win a world title to make history and become a 3-division world champion. But he'll be returning back down to the middleweight division, where he has 2 of the middleweight titles that he will defend in the near future, perhaps on Cinco de Mayo against somebody either like David Lemieux or perhaps Daniel Jacobs. That's a fight that a lot of boxing fans would love to see, but I don't think that fight is actually going to get to take place. But we're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But tune in to this Saturday, December 15th, on DAZN to watch this fight. So please subscribe. Now, we're also going to do a recap over the fights that took place this past weekend, also at Madison Square Garden on ESPN. It was the matchup of WBA and Ring Magazine lineal lightweight champion of the world, Vasyl Lomachenko, who is regarded as pound for pound #1 by many boxing experts, but I have him in my top 5 in J. Calderon Boxing Talk. I, of course, have Terrence Crawford as the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world, but Vasyl Lomachenko is by far one of the most talented fighters in boxing today, and he displayed his great boxing skills against Jose Pedraza of Puerto Rico to capture another world title, the WBO lightweight title, to unify those title belts in the lightweight division of 135 pounds. This was a fight matchup where a lot of people knew that Pedraza was overly matched against a guy like Lomachenko, who is such a great, skillful boxer. And Lomachenko put on that boxing display. He showed that great footwork, he showed the hand speed, and he put that pinpoint accuracy with his sharpness in putting those combination punches together. He did get to drop Pedraza twice in this fight, late in this fight in the 11th round, but he did not get to close the show and stop this man. Pedraza was able to survive and go into the 12th and final bell, and he lost a lopsided 12-round decision. I think I gave him about 1, possibly 2 rounds throughout this fight, because it was such a boxing clinic by Lomachenko, and Lomachenko stamped himself as the best lightweight in the division. You know, Mikey Garcia also holds 2 world titles in that weight class, but Mikey decided to go up in weight to take on a bigger challenge, a much more dangerous fight against Errol Spence Jr. for the IBF welterweight crown at 147 pounds. That's a big jump. That's a big step. You got to commend Mikey Garcia for taking that leap. You know, a lot of people would love to see him fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko did say that he would like to fight Mikey Garcia. Let's see if Mikey Garcia could pull out the victory against Errol Spence. If he doesn't, he still holds the lightweight titles at 135 pounds, and he could come back down to take on Lomachenko. But a lot of people question, how much will Mikey Garcia actually have left if he loses badly to Errol Spence? Will he be the same fighter? That's a question that we're going to have to wait and see to be answered. But a fight between Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia is the super fight. But another fight that's out there is the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis, who is a 2-time junior lightweight champion at 130 pounds. If he decides to take that big step the way Mikey Garcia has taken the step, and also other great fighters, if he's willing to move up to 135 pounds to take the challenge and take on Vasyl Lomachenko, because a lot of people are comparing the fight between Jose Pedraza and Gervonta Tank Davis, where Tank was able to just annihilate and walk right through a guy like Pedraza through 8 rounds and destroy this man in spectacular fashion to win the world title at 130 pounds. That was a different Pedraza. This was a more experienced Pedraza, a guy that was fighting at 135 pounds, perhaps a little bit better fighter, more experienced, and this guy systematically got taken apart by Lomachenko. Styles make fights, and both guys have different styles against Pedraza. Pedraza went up against Tank. Tank was a more aggressive power puncher that just basically destroyed him. While Lomachenko is not known as a big puncher like Tank Davis, he is a more skillful fighter. And even Jose Pedraza, who faced both of these men, said that Lomachenko is a better fighter than Gervonta Tank Davis. And I believe that is definitely true because Lomachenko's footwork and his hand speed can match a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. Where he lacks is the punching power that Tank Davis has. But like a guy like Tyson Fury proved against Deontay Wilder, one of the biggest, hardest punchers in the heavyweight division, and a guy that has knocked out everyone that has stood in front of him. Tyson Fury proved that his boxing skills was much better than Wilder's. Even though Wilder was able to drop him twice, you have to look at the big factor. This man was able to get up and came back in those rounds to fight Wilder back. So, you know, you got to give this man a lot of credit for what he did, you know, and like I said, punching power is not always a factor in a matchup, especially when you have a highly skilled fighter like Lomachenko, where his defense and his footwork and his accuracy with his high volume is going to be a lot for a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. Davis is still a young fighter and still developing. He has 20 fights against a guy that's had more than 400 fights. Amateur and professional, he's only had 12, but this man has had far more advanced experience in the boxing ring throughout these years than a guy like Gervonta Davis. Tank is definitely a very talented young fighter. He has a lot of potential. He is definitely one of the best junior lightweights in the division of 130 pounds. But there's guys like Miguel Burchell and also Tevin Farmer that are out there that he needs to take on those challenges before he steps up and faces a guy like Lomachenko. But if he's willing to be great, if he wants to take the risk, he has to step up and face a guy like Lomachenko, because a lot of people feel, and he's talking, that he is a better fighter. He's comparing himself to what he did against Pedraza than what Lomachenko did. And the only way to prove who's a better fighter is for these guys to face each other. Will Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather allow this man to take that big challenge and come over to ESPN and do a pay-per-view event? Because this is a fight where people will buy into the pay-per-view. It won't sell 1 million pay-per-view buys, but it'll get perhaps the same type of numbers that Deontay Wilder and also Tyson Fury did. About 300,000 pay-per-view buys. I believe that fight can make between Lomachenko and Tank Davis. And it's a fight that I would love to see. It's a great matchup, but it's one that I believe Lomachenko is just too much for a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. And I believe that he will take him apart and possibly even stop him, because I don't see Davis making it to the 12th and final round the way Pedraza was able to do in this fight right here. But that's my final take and analysis on the upcoming fights. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into this YouTube channel right here, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Please hit that little red subscribe button, hit that bell icon, put your email information in so you get all my notifications once I drop a new video. Also, hit that like button, hit that share button. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and join the Facebook boxing group page, all under the same name, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support, keep watching, and please subscribe.